So I was in the middle of about to finally start talking about Breaking Bad when my phone went, and it was one of those, you answer the phone and there's like, hello, we have received some information, you might be needing some debt recovery, please give us a call back if you want to help, blah blah blah. And bear in mind now, I don't want any debt recovery help. Whoever I do owe can go fuck themselves. I don't need to be, and it literally, like, I'm recording this on my phone, and this is what really annoys me. I was literally like 3 minutes into my Breaking Bad section, and it cut me off because of that stupid fucking shit. No, go away. And the funny thing is, I can't even find out the company who did want to talk to me. So what the bloody point? I've just spent the last 20 minutes trying to find the company. Literally so I can ring up and have a go at them and tell them to piss off that I'm trying to bloody do something here that matters or I'm interested in, and I couldn't. So it's fucking ridiculous, isn't it, really? And I've typed the number in online, and there's a million other people who've had a call from them. It's just like, it's not on. I do owe a few people money, but the calls are not from them. The calls are from faceless nobodies. But yeah, that's just where I started anyway. The next thing I wanted to say was I wanted to show you a picture of my missus, because only for 2 seconds. She means a lot to me. I did try and get the camera to go around the other way, but it didn't really work. So yeah, it's not going to work now, is it? Hang on a sec. And that is my my partner. That's Vicky. I don't really deserve her in any shape or form. She's kind of like a voluptuous Anna Nicole Smith / Pamela Anderson. Even when she wakes up in the morning, and I don't deserve her at all. But at the end of the day, we're both there for each other, and it seems to be working even after 3 years. So right, Breaking Bad. I've never known a show like it. I really haven't. I like I was saying earlier in my video, I don't really watch a lot of videos. There's only so many every so often. I said there was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Sopranos I dabbled in a little bit at the time, but even that I kind of lost kind of momentum near the end. And then the next one was Breaking Bad, and that was probably the first show I'd watched in about 4 or 5 years. And only because my mate Ammo, where I was working at the time, just said, have you ever watched, I said, is there anything, I should really, am I missing out on anything? Is there anything I really should be, watching? And he said, have you watched Breaking Bad? This was this is about a year ago, actually, and I said, oh no. And he said, if you're going to watch one show, watch this. He said, I'm only about into season 3, 4, but it really is the show that never stops giving. And I thought, oh, okay, fair enough. Because I'd heard all about these Weeds and The Wire and all the others. And I'd watched little clips of it, and they don't really do anything for me. It's like NYPD Blue. But I was going to say not as interesting. It's not really my sort of thing. But I watched Breaking Bad, and from the first episode I literally was hooked. Watched the second one, watched the third one, watched the fourth one. Unbelievable. The first thing that really gripped it for me was the fact that I was never a huge fan of Malcolm in the Middle, but I clearly knew of Malcolm in the Middle, and I always thought, even though it was a kids comedy show that I was never really that bothered about, you could never really fault the performances. You could always tell they all put a lot into it, and it was quite watchable a lot of the time. So for him to be Walt, to go from being the dad, Hal, with his hair and everything, to being Walt. Which I always think, like, even at the start of Breaking Bad, he is pretty much Hal. And then within an episode, he's shaved his head off and doesn't give a fuck about anything. And I just could not stop watching it. And it is probably, I'm not going to have the same insights about this that I did about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because Buffy the Vampire Slayer is something I've watched my entire life and I've had a lot of time to think about it. Breaking Bad is something I've watched in the past year, 6 seasons of, and I still even now haven't properly digested it, other than how amazing it really is. But it's brilliant. I was always on Walt's side until he started being a bit of a twat near the end. But even then I would think I was still on Walt's side. And Jesse is one of them. And you cannot say a bad, in my opinion anyway, you can't say a bad. Can somebody be kicked around that much? And, I mean, yes, he makes meth and sells meth. But when it comes down to it, he just constantly tries. And he just gets kicked around at every single point. It's absolutely, and when even to the end, and when he finally drives off at the end, you feel so good for him. But it was absolutely brilliant. And then I think I really liked Mike Ehrmantraut. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Loved watching him whenever he came in. Skylar, I don't like Skylar, and maybe that's just because I know what it's like to have a nagging missus or whatever. But I loved it, but she has to be there for the story. And I loved when he's getting all his results and she's pregnant with her first kid, and of course, a typical woman. Sorry if I'm offending anyone now. Everything has to be about the birth of your child if you're pregnant. The whole world stops because a woman's about to have a child. But she starts having a go at Walt, and in that time he's found out he's got cancer. He hasn't told her. He started cooking meth with Jesse. He's got a million things on his plate, realisations of everything, and she starts bleating on about something or other. And I just think it's absolutely brilliant. He just says, and this is going back to what I was saying earlier about when you've got a missus, your love and devotion for that missus or partner, girlfriend, wife, is never in question. As far as I'm concerned, if you're that devoted, you're going to be with her till the end of time. And yes, you're going to fall out, and yes, you're going to have arguments, and yes, they're going to piss the hell out of you, just as much as you're going to piss the hell out of them. Because men and women are from different planets, we're two completely different species, so you're going to annoy each other. But I absolutely loved, and this sums up my feelings for the female race. He said, Skylar, I love you, I adore you, I will always be there for you, forever, exactly those words. But just for once, can you get out of my fucking ass this one time? And I think that's brilliant, and I think that's pretty much how every man feels in a relationship. Even when you've got a good relationship and a good woman, I love Vicky and I got a good thing going here. But sometimes, and I give Vicky some shit sometimes when I'm on a bit of a blooming. But when she's doing the past, sometimes, occasionally, you've just got some shit to deal with that you didn't have to explain yourself before you were in a relationship. And I just think that's absolutely brilliant. I love you, I adore you, I am going to be there for you forever. But just for once, can you just fucking get out of my ass this one time? Brilliant. So Skylar I wasn't a big, but I did think she started to come round to her own a little bit in the middle and then kind of made it. And Hank came across as the biggest twat in the world at the start, and then near the end you actually liked him more than Walt. He came across as such a decent chap. I like the fact that he was an absolute twat and is an absolute twat as a character, as a person. If you met him in a bar or a club or just had to pop round his house, you'd walk away thinking what an absolute fucking smarmy dickhead. But it didn't matter about that because he grew and he turned out to be, doesn't matter if he's a smarmy dickhead, he was an absolute likeable legend when it came down to it, and he became more likeable than Walt to a degree, and that was brilliant. And I just think the whole thing was absolutely amazing. I could not stop watching it. Gus, brilliant, best villain, not even a villain, best ever. I loved how he was the bad guy for the big bad of 2 series. And then they took Jesse to Mexico, but then they showed the guy they were selling the meth to in Mexico, forgotten his name, but then they showed a flashback of him killing Gus's partner 20 odd years ago for no reason, and it was all about Gus getting his revenge. And it was brilliant how he was the big bad of the series, but then in those couple of episodes where he was taking Jesse back to cook the meth for the the cartel, you didn't give a fuck about what he'd done, gutting that guy's neck or whatever in front of him, trying to get him killed. You didn't give a fuck about that. All you cared about was Gus getting his revenge with Jesse on the cartel and that guy. And the fact that he took that fucking poison in the drink with him, that took a lot of guts. And then the fact that when he said, "Can I go to the toilet?" he laid like a towel on the floor before he kneeled down and sicked up the poison, just said everything about Gus. And it was brilliant. And then coming back to when he then did still get ill and Jesse had to take him. I loved the fact that there was a makeshift hospital for gangsters. I thought that was brilliant in a little tent. But they didn't give a fuck about Mike. But Jesse was like, "Come on, you got to help him," and everything. It's just the levels of compassion and friendship, even when, you know, Jesse didn't want Gus to die or Mike to die, even though these 2 people had threatened him at every second away and tried to kill him 1,000,000 times. If you care about someone, you care about someone, and no one. And although I personally don't think Gus deserved what happened, but Walt was never going to stop. But that was my final thing I will say on this, was when he blew Gus up. Spoilers alert, sorry if you're watching this one. You should be watching Breaking Bad, not watching me talk about it. When he walked out of that door and did up his shirt, and you thought he was okay, and then he just looked to the camera and his face was blown off. Absolutely brilliant. The fact that half his face had been blown up, but he still remembered to do his tie, was Gus more than anything. And I think it was sad that he went, because I liked Gus, and I think Walt was probably more of the twat than Gus. And don't get me started on Todd. That's going to be another talk. But again, we're written about 13 minutes now, so I've got to stop. So there you go.